Poducer.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Poducer. I'm your host, Jerry. We're joined by Chris Aram today as the co-host.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And today's guest is Aria from the Midwest Rave Culture Archive.
Yep.
And you are the archivist.
I am the archivist, community archivist.
Is that's how we run it? Or
Yeah.
like that's how you say it? Okay.
Totally.
Aria, what do you do? Like, what are the hats that you wear?
By trade or within the
You can give
context?
us your personal life too. Whatever you'd like. I kind of like when people give whatever.
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand too. I've been thinking about this recently, and I had a great conversation with a friend earlier this summer on her podcast, and she asked me about my career in aesthetics because she's got a career doing hair for a long time, and we met on the dance floor, and we're both very people-oriented and very sociable, and in getting to know each other, there's those commonalities between what you do as a trade and what you do in your social life and in your practice of arts and culture. So by trade, I'm an esthetician, and I've been doing that for 11 years. I started like right out of high school. I went to the Aveda school that we were talking about earlier up in Milwaukee. So facials and waxing is what I specialize in. And before that, I was really focused on curriculum development within beauty schools and the Aveda network. So I've got like a preliminary background in professional development and educational development for estheticians, and specifically the process of eyelash extension services. That was like my little niche at the rise of
Extensions. My eyelash or my eyebrows are so long. They're like getting to that grandpa level where like I need to clip them now.
We could harvest those.
I need your help because I don't know how to tame them anymore.
That's what I would do. That's totally what I do. I do brows and facials predominantly. I'm at Soho House at the Cowshed Spa, and I really love it.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I love it. So that's been a big backdrop on my personal life and my trade and how I connect with people and service people. And I think that goes into being a community archivist too, because every day I'm meeting like 8 to 10 new people and individualizing their treatments and what they need and leading conversations with them and getting to know how to apply what they need for their brows or for their skin or for their entire, body and their wellness and their spirit. And the archive is new. And my community archiving roles is no more than 6 months and like a few months really in the practice of preserving and reformatting and digitizing and uploading for community and public access.
Gotcha. So does it have an end date or is this like
The archive?
Yeah.
Forever.
Okay.
It's totally forever. It's going to keep on going and going and going. I don't know that there is an end date. And I like
guess
that.
unless if you got every single piece of whatever from the past, then maybe, but I guess you just keep, time goes on and things keep coming out, posters and whatnot. Aria is doing a really cool thing. She's scanning like old rave posters and zines. Sorry.
I've heard both.
Okay.
I say zines, but I've heard both.
I just feel like zines is wrong nowadays.
That's something
We're
else.
not talking about nicotine. But yeah, it's like some of this stuff is just really cool, and we're going to talk all about that today.
Thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, but something we always do just to kind of do like an icebreaker is asking you what your first concert was. And before you answer, I know that you've been steeped in the rave culture for a long time. You told me that your parents were in it. Yeah, so I'm very curious, what was the first?
So, what kind of show?
So we can do like, it doesn't have to be electronic music. It could be whatever your first one. You could also fill in what your first electronic show was.
I can't remember what that was. I remember being at Soundcheck a lot and like touring venues, but my first commercial concert was Weezer at the Tweeter Center in Tinley Park.
Weezer at the Tweeter.
Yep.
Wow, that's fun to say.
Yeah. And I remember like my stepmom took me and I like got a new little outfit and had like a pink snakeskin jacket.
Ooh.
Yep.
And
Rad.
how old were you?
Yeah.
You said?
Oh gosh, five or six. Yeah, that was great. We were like third row, and there were these girls behind us, and one of them spilled a beer on me, and she's like, "I'm so sorry," but she was like having the best time ever, and she was really sweet about it. But it was great. It was really fun. It was my first time seeing a band on stage.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I loved Weezer. Island in the Sun was like my jam.
Yeah, say it ain't so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So is the Tweeter Center, where is that?
Tinley Park.
Tinley. Okay.
It's
Gotcha.
something else now.
I was going to say I've heard the
Google?
name. I just don't know exactly.
Chris is like, here we go.
I got this.
Thank you. So while he's looking that up, maybe you said that you don't remember your first rave, or do you remember?
Oh, you know what? I do. I totally do. My first rave happened because all of my parents were participating. So I've got a mom and a dad, Lori and Roger, and then they separated and they both remarried.
Same.
So, right.
And then they both got divorced.
Yes, me too.
No way, really?
Yeah, totally.
That's actually hilarious.
So I don't know, like, how do you talk about it? Like when I reference like my stepmom, stepdad.
My ex-stepmom.
Right.
My ex-stepbrother.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I say as a joke, and people are like, that
Yeah,
sounds
people
like
don't get
tea.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, it's not a big deal. It's just like, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
I guess it depends how close you are with them. Like if you just say like, oh, it's my stepmom, they're not married anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah.
I mean, they were really foundational in my life. Like they both came in. Like my stepdad came around when I was 2 and was married to my mom until I was like 11. And then my stepmom, 5 until, 13.
That's funny. I don't think I've met a lot of other people that have like that same, like they were married and then got separated and then both got married again and then got divorced again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I never know what to say. So I kind of just like lightly say stepdad, stepmom, but it's not current, right? Because these people and myself, I'm 30 years old now.
Yeah. 31
so like,
here.
Right. It's not really my life. It's not my Thanksgiving table. Not that I go to Thanksgiving anymore, but.
For sure.
I
still hit that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got spicy news on the Tweeter Center.
What?
It's now called the Credit Union 1 Amphitheater.
Dang, that sounds so lame.
Where's the soul and life in that?
But I do like a credit union.
Yes.
Oh,
definitely
okay.
more than,
Than a
other
bank.
options. Yeah.
Right.
Credit union, I always feel like I go there to do something like sketchy. And I'm like, I don't know.
What
Like
are you doing?
like, not actually, but they're like, yeah, you got to go. I forget what I was there for last, but like renewing some kind of vehicle registration. I was like, is this really the place I do it? But yes. Okay, cool. Well, we got some history there.
Yeah, I know it's a lot to unpack. But so all of my parents were participating in this rave called Even Further up in Wisconsin. Wow. Yeah, and so my stepdad was DJing and my dad was DJing too. And I think my dad was also running a tent. So the idea is that all of these renegade sound system collectives go up to this farm in Wisconsin. And, it's a weekend festival where there's a main stage and then, all around the campgrounds are these other little stages.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember doing that. And I remember going up with my mom and my stepdad and their friend, Jonathan Montero, shout out. I think that's his last name. I haven't seen him in a while.
Confident there. They're just like Montero for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really sticking in my mind. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone will. Yeah, and we like drove through the Dells. I don't remember where this campsite is, but we did go through the Dells and we did like the whole Dells experience, and that was really fun. And then we got to the campground and we settled in, and there was a lot of like car camping and tent camping, and there's pictures from this too. I remember walking. It was nighttime, right? So it's like party time. And I remember walking into the tent, like the main stage tent, on my stepdad's shoulders. And my stepdad's tall. And so I was like really high up. And if my stepmom was there, I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. Maybe 6.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing like a huge crowd of people
Yeah.
And then the stage. I still have a very like clear image in my mind. And just being like, wow.
Mm.
And then I had little candy bracelets.
Wow, you were so early.
Yeah,
Like
those were,
no
like,
one
bell
was
bottoms.
earlier than you. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 95, so I was like right in the middle of that.
That's awesome. I only wish I could have like participated, somewhat in there. So I kind of like want to talk, just immediately kind of get into the archive. Was there anything that was like the gateway into it, or something that sparked your mind to do it?
I'm seeing a flash of moments of like little nagging moments of like, oh, this has to be done. And examples coming up too of other cultures and their archives and other cities and subcultures synonymous to rave culture. The personal connection is just having my parents' flyers and memorabilia around and it being like in a box, sort of like a recipe box. And, we're 30, so there was a time in our lives where we weren't going to the internet to entertain ourselves and really being drawn to the art. And that was always kind of like a mainstay in my memory. It was all of these things coming together over the course of many years. And then also reflecting on my personal lineage too. And as I tell the story that shapes my identity of this culture, wanting to get the story right, because there's a lot that I don't know about those early years, and wanting to explore that more, and seeing that we don't really have like an organized infrastructure that can catalog and document and retell our story.
What is all in it? Like, what is the scope of what you archive?
Mm-hmm. What we're doing now is different than what we'll do in 3 months and in 6 months and in a year and maybe in 3 years. And right now, we're really starting with flyers and cassette tapes and video. We've got some VHS videos, but lots of flyers. So we're working on cataloging that right now. And
how do you get them?
Yeah, acquisitions from friends and family. Yeah, so I started with my dad's collection, and we're working on Phantom 45's collection and Danny the Wild Child's collection and Lady Tron Louise, and Saj is another community member who's going to a lot of parties, and Dave Rosen, the guy who's working on reformatting our cassettes and audio. He like runs a business doing that for the past 20 years. He just happens to be a raver. And working with him, he's like, yeah, I also have some stuff too. So that's where we're getting it from. It's been very like, here, I know you're doing this. And not so much of like an open call just yet. We're starting with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. What about flyers? Like, what do they tell us about the time? Like, when you're looking at them, is there a specific category you're talking? I mean, like, you're doing artists, right? But like, do you look at a flyer and you're like, that's 93? Like, is it that spot on, or is it, because I'm sure you can see the styles just like evolve.
Totally. You can see the styles evolve, and you can see, I think you can tell the time based on who's DJing, what crews are presented, like little emblems are on the flyers.
The logos and whatnot. Yeah.
Yep, the logos, and also location too. And addresses are not on the flyer, but so far what I've seen is that a lot of the early flyers that we're sorting through right now that begin in 92 are predominantly Chicago and Milwaukee, or Chicago and Wisconsin. And then once you start to kind of branch out, at least from what I've seen so far, into other Midwestern cities, you can see like, okay, there's a progression of time based on how people are moving across the Midwest. So maybe Kentucky came in like 96, right? Like I've seen like there's a party in Kentucky, like a techno party. I've seen flyers like 96. So then I start to think about like, okay, maybe that's the timeline based on what we're seeing. Info lines, that's a big thing too. A lot of
Is that like a
24-hour
little...
info lines.
So is that a number to call? Okay, so like I'm sure there's a lot of people that listen to this that are ravers, but my mom listens to this. So like, why was it that they wouldn't put the address?
Because they weren't supposed to happen. These were totally illegal parties. They were purposefully beyond the club. And in my dad's case, who's really into drum and bass in a house city, right? This is Chicago after all. There was kind of this like, we don't want to hear drum and bass attitude. So it's like, well, if you're not
tribal like that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And if it can't happen in the club, where else are you going to do it? And so a lot of these parties happened outside the bounds of that. And these are also, like, if you think about the timeline and the development of society and culture, these are people who were punks, right? These are like punk rockers. These are people who are listening to hip hop and industrial. So there's this like divergence from a mainstream, truly, just in their preliminary, like, also post-civil rights experience in life. So it's a very outsider community that would happen outside of a club or a legal venue because it was never really for that and not accepted there. So info lines would be there to tell you where the party was.
And I've heard a lot. I mean, people do this now. Of course, there's a lot of renegade parties that still happen under bridges and, you know, whatever, wherever you can do it. But, you know, there'll sometimes be like an Easter egg hunt. Getting back to the archive itself. So you're doing a lot of posters. I saw that you posted this one thing that really stuck out to me. There was like circular posters. Was that because, like, were they circular because you could put them on the records that, like, people bought or, like, in the record or something?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's a flyer that my dad put together for his party, and it was designed by Cody Hudson, who's an early rave flyer designer and went on to be this phenomenal artist in Chicago and does really great murals and sculptures and all types of great stuff. But he was designing a lot for Right Productions, my dad's production group, and E-System and Drop Bass Network, which were kind of like the early crews. And that's exactly what it was for. It was to put that flyer in the records.
Were there any other interesting, like, posters that we don't see nowadays because we don't have as much physical, like, merchant? Well, we have, like, merch, like shirts and stuff, but I mean, people aren't buying as many records. Is there anything else unique like that?
Every flyer is so unique in the shape, in the size. There's a lot of trifold that comes about.
Oh, okay. Like a pamphlet or something?
Yep. There's like big poster size flyers too. There's tiny little flyers. I mean, every flyer is totally different in the design, in the text, in the size, in the shape. Unless it's like, there's standards. Maybe if it was the same party, you might see a similar layout and size repeated, but a lot of these flyers are very unique. And I think they're each significant in their own. There's a lot of messaging, like a lot of long form paragraphs on these flyers too, which is interesting. We don't really see that anymore, but like full on philosophies of what this party is about and what's happening and who these DJs are and where they're from.
So let's talk about zines too. Like, how do we classify a zine as to like a magazine, or like, is it just more underground? Is that kind of the idea?
I think so. Yeah. The zine portion is really interesting to me. And my initial conception or perception of zines in this space was that they were more rudimentary than what I've been seeing come through the archive. And maybe zine, it by nature has a very broad scope of what classifies as. It could be a zine as simple as just like images, right? Or it could be a zine that's more like a magazine with advertisements and music reviews and essays along with photos. And there's one magazine that's kind of like a zine in the nature that it's underground and not connected to a publisher, that's circulating in mass, called Reactor by David Prince. And those are like big. They're like the size of like Life magazine. And
that sounds sick.
They're phenomenal.
Like, I want one for my coffee table.
Yeah, it'd be cool to like do that. Reproduce them.
Have you thought about that? Is that like legal? Like,
I've thought about it, but it takes a lot of consideration and like connection.
Right.
Yeah, you have to do it right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
There's lots of ethics around it, and it's like, does the creator want to do that, and how are we enacting that process?
Gotcha. Chris, just wanted to also open the floor if there was anything that you was bubbling up over there.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So when looking at all these flyers and the designs of the flyers and like what they're kind of meant to do,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be a natural parallel to seeing how social media is used today to advertise special events. There's graphic design that goes into it. In your mind, like, what are the differences and similarities between flyers from like pre-internet days and social media posts today to advertise events?
That's a good question.
With social media, I think you're really seeing those core pieces of information remain. Name of the party, DJs. Cool design. I think social media captions have circumvented the information that would be on a flyer. So you're not seeing that as much as often. But still, like, really cool progressive designs, I think, are in both applications, and contact information is different. The way that we access, the way that we buy tickets, how and where and when payment is accepted, right? A lot of these like early raves they're cash. You're bringing cash to the door.
Right.
And
when
you're
people
like,
actually had cash.
yeah, right. And
Yeah.
you're carrying it out in a trash bag.
They're like, how do I tap my iPhone to pay?
yeah. Or like, double clicking your Apple Pay to buy a ticket on Resident Advisor or Dice. It's different in those ways.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious because we were kind of talking about this before the show. In music and art and culture and all of that, we have these things come back into style.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking before the show that, like, the 90s was like really big a couple years ago. And now we're kind of like in the 2000s, which, I mean, similar characteristics. There's, a lineage to that. But I'm kind of curious just like how you think about that in general, and kind of like where we are right now with like flyers and all that stuff, and then where we're going, or what you would predict that we're going to. Style wise, I guess, and maybe also like action, like activations as well.
I like the word activations too. I think something that's similar and maybe like a mainstay is street postering in Chicago. In Milwaukee, like when I go up there, I'm not seeing that as much. And I'm not very much in Minneapolis or Indianapolis or Columbus. So I can't say what their street postering culture is like. It's hard to do it in Milwaukee. But I'm seeing that still currently we've got flyers on the streets, which is cool. And I think that's going to continue to happen. I know that, promoters are still investing in that because it stays, it's tangible. Like you'll walk past a flyer on Damon Avenue. I still have one that's up from a party that we did last November. I think that will stay. And the trend for what might change or deviate, I can't say, but I think there will be a continued application and activation of both online and tangible postering and flyer drop-offs. That still matters. We're still seeing that at like Gramophone and coffee shops and clothing stores that flyers are being dropped off.
For sure, yeah. I feel like, I guess, like art for albums kind of probably follows a similar thing. Like they probably feed off each other a little bit. Been seeing a lot of like wireframe globes. I've been seeing a lot of like things that look like PlayStation or like video or like Nintendo or like just video game like covers. That's a big thing with like mixes or like early 3D animation for like a breaks mix, like an ambient breaks mix on YouTube. That's like big, and that's been there. But yeah, I'm kind of curious where we go with like AI with, you know, generating art, whether we like that or not. And just like, I guess like even the higher end like 3D stuff that can now be generated. And like what events start looking like when they have like new tech. You know, we got the Sphere, which is wild. I've never been. It seems really cool. It seems like there is a heavy emphasis these days on visuals over the sound. There is definitely like a lot of people that are championing sound system culture as well. I think there's a lot of things happening all at once. It's just the internet now makes it so much more accessible to everyone. So I don't know. I feel like it's hard to really predict. And I feel like the trends are accelerating. Like they're happening quicker and quicker. So like maybe it was 20 years. Now it's like 10 years or something, or like 5. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, for sure. And everywhere in culture, right? It's like this super quick onset and release of style and of interest too. But the trend of like what's it called? It's like there's a word for this style that talks about like it's like a tech, like neo-tech sort of like
vaporware or something.
Yeah, like futuristic. This is the time is now, like Matrix, right? Very like computer board.
Yeah, there's so many different niche little things to call it. Like I've heard people talk, like Ramon Pang, shout out him. He's like always on these like niche categories that I'm like, what even is this?
Right.
But yeah, that's a thing you're saying, kind of, that's popular.
I think that's a trend for sure, all the way through. And I think that brings together all of the elements and orchestrations of a production. The sound, the lighting, the DJ, the sound of the music, how we're making music and reformatting music, how people are getting there, how they're leaving. It's all very like technology progressive and wanting to get that new like lighting system or laser. That's something in flyers too that I'm not seeing as much now that I talk about sometimes with friends. If you look back at these flyers, there's advertisements, like the sound system and the lasers are as significant in mention than the DJs. Like it was really cool to be like, yeah, we've got an argon laser. Yeah, we've got like IntelliBeams, you know, like you're going to experience something that you've never seen before.
Your drugs are going to be better now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, no drugs.
Drugs. But yeah, but that is, we can talk about that too. It kind of makes me feel better that, you know, there's always been an emphasis on the visuals. Like, you know, that makes total sense. Something I'd like to see is, from at least what I've heard, is that the DJs weren't at the center. They weren't the centerpiece of the concert necessarily. They were providing the vibe, but the dance floor, everyone's just kind of like looking every which way. Not everyone's facing forward. That would be amazing. I wish we had that. I mean, I'm sure there's some venues that do have that still. But yeah, it does just feel like everyone's staring in one direction. They're filming. Everyone's phones are facing one direction. It's just like kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that's what I've experienced mostly.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. I've experienced that
There's
too.
some water there if you want to. I got that. Yeah.
Right.
Just whenever you feel you need to take a sip, I will stop talking. Sometimes I'm just like, so tell me more about that. And I'm like, no water.
It's me. It's totally me. I'm like a chronically sick person. And I think that's another interest in the archiving too, because I'm not always out and I can't always be out. It's not sustainable for me to be partying all the time. For my personal health, like my physical, like my lungs cannot take it.
Yeah. My back can't take
Yeah.
it. Like my legs, I'm like, ugh, fuck.
Yeah, that's real.
I
So-
need to just be stronger.
Yeah. Well,
We'll get there.
perhaps, but also maybe that's why we sit down and do a podcast. And that's your unique, this is my mode of participating.
I also have said this before that like I've never been the one at the party to be like talking to 10 people and like, oh yeah, isn't that fun? Or something like that. Like I will go outside with one person and have like a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like trying to be the life of the party.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think you're right though, that it is kind of like, this is what I like. I like an intimate conversation. And I do enjoy sitting to it. It's nice.
It's interesting. I'm thinking about relating that to that very like DJ centric party experience, and that maybe altering our culture to be like a self-centric dancer, and that being different than the experience of being an early raver at a party where you don't know who's going to be there. You're showing up and you think who you saw last weekend or last month, or who likes X, Y, and Z DJ might be there, but you don't really know. So you're more apt to kind of circle the venue and find yourself in different pockets, and maybe you're like in a cuddle puddle on the side of the wall on the outskirts of the crowd. Whereas now, maybe that's changed.
I think it has. I think even just the ability to go online and see like who's liked a certain flyer, like talk to your friends beforehand, like, are we going to this? Like, who's going? Should I sit this one out? I think also there's like an element of you're at the show. I try not to film shows a lot because I'm just like, maybe like one video. But like, a lot of people are like, this is my night. I'm showing and broadcasting what I'm doing to everyone. Whereas what you were saying sounds way more romantic. It's like, maybe I'll see this person. And then when you see them, like, oh, dude, what's up, man? You're here? That's crazy. Like, I saw you at the last one. And that was, I mean, you could like call someone, right? And like maybe get them. But yeah, I think that there was a little bit more like chance back then.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you kind of know what you're going to get. They like tell you, they show you what the visuals are going to look like. They show you like the last show over at this venue. Some people are posting the sets like, yeah, he's probably going to play this set basically. And you're like, okay, why am I even going? It's like watching the trailer for a movie. I hate the trailer for a movie because it ruins half of it. You're like, oh, yeah, okay. I got it.
That's a great distillation.
Right? Like, it's just kind of, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'm very, another type of archiving that I think would be really cool, and a lot of festivals do this really well, like Lollapalooza or whatever, like they have an entire film crew. The last people that I saw that did this really well was Coachella. They had like so many angles and different stages and all this stuff, and it's like 4K, 8K, whatever, like the sound is feeding right into what you're watching. You can hear the crowd. And to me, that makes me feel like, okay, cool. Someone professional is capturing this. I don't have to pull out my phone. I'm good now. I'll just watch the recap because it was like filmed way better than I could ever do it. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to stop people from recording. But
I feel like there's something romantic to be said about recording parts of a set, though, because like there were bootlegs made of people's DJing, from like the 70s on. And then you have a personal little tape of like what happened there. I feel like a similar thing is like recording videos with phones. Where like maybe don't record the entire thing. But if you have a set of clips, that in itself could be like in an archive someday, right? Like seeing someone perform in like a venue they usually don't, or like in a special time in their lives before they like really blew up, right?
Totally. It's interesting because we're sitting here now and we're like, oh, to film, not to film. But as I look into the early 90s, 2000s, I'm like, God damn it, I just wish we had someone filming.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, now we got so many different angles, so it's like someone will probably capture it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wish there was a push for people to like, and I think that there is, like, to get like a professional crew. It's obviously going to cost more money, and like film it and be like, yo, like this is something you could buy or access with whatever, but it's like another thing that, and then maybe they do like the no phone thing or something. I don't know. I mean, I haven't personally experienced that many like no phone raves. So maybe I'm like thinking it's so cool and then being like, it's not that cool. I don't know. I kind of need to try it, I guess.
I think it's cool.
Okay. Good. I feel the same way.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was just at ARC recently, and my friend Prove, you guys know Prove, yeah?
Yeah.
Great guy. He was playing at the 909 stage. It was phenomenal. And so he was generous enough to give us, little wristbands or whatever. So we were able to stand behind the DJ booth. And I turned to my friend and I was like, it was like not a phone in sight. And I turned to my friend, I was like, I'm gonna take a video. There's like no one using their phone, and that was really cool. It was cool. It was like people were like really like, like eyes closed, like in their bodies, hands free. I think when our hands are free, like I think, like we've got polarity in our hands. And this is my background as an esthetician, like in this space, thinking about how our bodies pick up frequencies and sounds and people around us. Like, I think when your hands are free, you're having a truer connection. And phones interfere with that. So I think it's cool to have a phone-free rave.
Yeah, me too. Otherwise, I'm checking it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I feel like we did our stick in the mud thing there for a second. I did. Sorry. But I kind of wanted to talk about like how you actually go about digitizing some of this stuff and like, what you choose and like maybe some things that you also are like, that's cool, but like maybe it doesn't make it in the archive, or how do you kind of like judge that? Also, if you can grab the mic here and just like pull it down like this. Yeah. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great.
We want to see your face.
Oh, here it is. Oh, that's a great question. I was thinking about this earlier too, and let's talk about the process. Let's talk about the process of I'm acquiring materials, physical materials, and then I sort them by date. That's as much curation as I want to do. There's really not a lot of selection. If it's dance music, if it happened in the Midwest, it applies. And anything beyond that is not it's not valid in an archive. So I don't want to be a curator. I don't want to design or augment when things come in. It's really about collecting and being a processing system for preservation. So we're bringing materials in, and we've worked with some really great community partners like Latitude, the photo studio on Hubbard, to scan flyers. They've got some really great scanners and some printers that we might use in the future. And we're working with Scan 5 up in Ravenswood, Dave Rosen, who has the Rave flyer collection that we've included in the archive so far. And he's got like a super comprehensive photo, video lab, audio lab that works to digitize and reformat what's coming in.
Very cool. I'm sure there's some big scanners. Do you have to be really careful with some of the stuff? Like, is it like literally about to be dust in the wind if you like don't handle it correctly?
Some of it. things that are on like newspaper material.
Oh, it gets like flaky.
Yeah, newspaper is super delicate, like notoriously very delicate in the world of archiving. But a lot of these flyers are also shiny. I think that's something that's changed too. Like they're like shiny flyers was like really cool back in the day, and not so much anymore.
Now it's like matte.
Yeah,
Matte's like the steez.
totally matte and kind of like that like dusty, like creased look. So that like that shiny finish is like a sealant, which is awesome because now we have like a kind of like a pseudo laminated piece of paper.
Does that affect how you scan it too? Because it reflects when you scan it or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And I have some trouble. I have some trouble with like their scanners are only so big.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like you gotta have a big scanner for some things. So do you scan them in parts and piece it together sometimes, or
with some stuff I have and then you have to stitch it together retroactively in Photoshop or something similar. But in the archiving world, you'll also set up like a camera, like this, right? So that you're like hovering over a table, and then you'll do a large photo of something. And so I've taken some large photo scans of flyers, but again, they're reflective. So I'm getting some sheen, and that's community archiving. It's not perfect, but it's happening. There is evidence that it exists. And if we need to take a closer look, if someone's, doing a research project or is curious about a certain event, maybe there's glare on like a specific little portion, like we can still pull it from our physical archive in the box where it's classified, and we can look at it there. But that's sort of an issue. Pro and con.
I'm sure just like recording these episodes, I have to have adequate storage space for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that's a consideration for you as well. It's like you got to have a lot of space for that stuff and make sure it's probably like temperature controlled or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's a big part of archiving.
Those little silicone packets. Just put them in
there. Yeah. Humidity gauge.
Yeah.
You have to have the right shelving. You want it to be metal, not wood, because wood absorbs moisture. The boxes that it's in matters. Acid-free paper in between newspaper, especially, so that there isn't ink transfer. We have a really great collection. It's like 8 binders of flyers, really comprehensive from like 92 to 96. But it's like a photo album, right? So like those flyers are sticky. And when we peel off those flyers, we've had to like use a hairdryer to loosen the adhesive, because when we peel it off, there's residue and like removal of text and image onto the binder. So there's a lot of elements of preservation and like the old school institutional methods and considerations of preservation that will stand for 100 years, 1,000 years. And it's like, how do we meet that with the materials that are coming about and designed in the 90s and 2000s?
Gotcha. So I feel like we kind of covered this, but like, when did you scan your first thing? Like, do you remember that? And you were just like, oh, we're in it now.
Yeah, this was a while ago. Oh, I mean, it's not that long ago, but in comparison to where we are now and what that setup was like, it was many upgraded processes ago. Yeah, this was 2022, summer of. And it was my dad's Psychosis collection. He did this festival called Psychosis for 9 iterations. And it was like a home scanner, which still applies. Home scanners are totally like okay in the archiving world. I thought they wouldn't be. And it was just scanning them.
Gotcha.
And the files were just terrible. Like the way they were sized, and they were just not it. So it took a lot of processes to get that system right.
Gotcha. So I'm kind of curious, like, you build up a big archive, and then what do like archives normally do with them? Do they get like exhibitions and stuff? Like have you considered, okay, we're gonna put this in some kind of museum at some point, or like have a installation of sorts? Like, is that kind of something you're trying to do? Is it mostly internet based?
That is something I am so wanting and trying to do. I'm really excited about the opportunity for installation. For sure. Totally. Selfishly. I think I really want to see that application. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's like we're talking about it, and it's like sometimes I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I feel like we could do a presentation at some point. I was joking before this. I was like, we could do like a PowerPoint presentation and talk about it. That would be really cool. Yeah. Not this time, but maybe next time.
Next time. For sure. Totally. And we're seeing that in other areas too of the world. There's museums for rave culture in Amsterdam and Frankfurt. Detroit has the Submerge record store and museum where there's an experience and reinterpretation and design around the culture and the ephemera. And so like any curation or design focus is in that realm once we've amassed research. And I think that's a crucial element to keep the archive living and not like a place where things go to die. Because tons of people have archives of their flyers. It's sitting in a shoebox on the shelf, but it's not being cataloged and it's not being activated.
It's like personal archives.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, uniquely so in this space too, right? I mean, you make music, Chris. Like
I keep
you
like
have
bands and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
or even like a digital archive of your podcasts. You
yeah,
have an archive.
That's YouTube mostly, just because
Right.
it's so much data.
Yeah.
But yes.
But that's an archive.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, and then there's so much other stuff too, like like the Evol guys. That's like the first thing I think of, like people selling merch that's specific to festivals and like pins and hats and all this other stuff. Do you guys dabble in that? And yeah, I mean, there's just so much. I'm just curious, like where it ends. Do you ever think about like outside of the Midwest? Like if you're like, we did a pretty good job with the Midwest, we got to go somewhere else now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like a far-reaching question, but is there a 5-year plan? That was a lot of questions. I'll stop.
Yeah, but they all make sense. And it's certainly something I've thought about for a long time in the implementation and rollout and development and longevity of the archive. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about the next 100 to 200 years and have looked at other archives. And there's different aspects there and different scopes and different kind of arms of the archive that I think you make mention of there. And one of those is like the merchandise, like the how can I take this with me? There's more of like a commerce of an archive. And there's also like a communications and research element of the archive. And also, like, how does the archive work in conversation with other archives and other music movements and in other places of the nation on the coasts and geographically across the globe? And they're all considered. I love to make merch. I was thinking about it like today and earlier this week of like, what should our sweaters look like for the fall? I'd love to have that, but to a degree. Right? Like I'm not really, I don't want to make a brand for Instagram, right? Like I don't want to be like, place your orders now and I'm going to send them out to you. I think it's important. I love to connect with brands that way too. Like I'm wearing an MF Doom shirt and I'm seeing the Beatdown Sound System shirt behind you, which I love. I have one too. Like I love that. But the archive stands to preserve and continue preservation efforts over a long period of time and to contribute to academia and communal understanding and identity and not just a brand on Instagram.
Yeah. it's way more, there's way more like potential in the sense that like you could do a panel, you could be talking at like a college about like you could run a course and have like examples from the archive. Like it's like in academia more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally. And
like
I'd like to go
that historian type deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we're seeing a lot of that in London. They are like so progressive and leading the charge on publication, on museum intervention and partnership, panel discussions.
Do you feel like Chicago's doing a good job of that at all? Or are we missing the mark a little bit?
We're missing the mark for rave culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think house music has laid a really great example of what can be done, like the Frankie Knuckles Foundation. I'm not going to continue to name because I'll leave out a lot. The Black Social Cultural Map by Honeypot has been phenomenal, a really great example. There's a professor at Columbia College Chicago that did like over 100 oral history interviews with people in house music. So I think that
I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's great. It's all online.
I'm a former alum. I don't think you have to say former when you say alum, but I will check that out for sure.
Yeah.
That's,
So, and like MCA and Smart Bar have a really great partnership too. I remember seeing a panel talk moderated by DeForest Brown and Arthur Jaffa and gosh, who was see, this is why I just catalog things online and not speak them out loud. Ron Trent. It was Ron Trent. It was a really great panel discussion at MCA, then an after party at Smart Bar. So there are some activations, but we're not seeing it with rave culture.
And what would be like the, I guess, delineation between like a house music situation and like rave? Like house being like, maybe it was at the warehouse, maybe it was at like an actual venue versus raves being DIY.
Right. Yeah, I get this question a lot too. And I think that kind of goes back to that like distinction of what applies to the archive. What are you accepting? What are you saying no to? And especially in Chicago too, my understanding, and I'm not like a super house head. Like I'm not like a Frankie Knuckles person. I'm not like a Ron Hardy person in my direct interest, but that is the predecessor for rave culture in some ways, right? But also so was like the Grateful Dead. There's like a lot of like Deadhead influence into rave culture.
And like Jamtronica and
all
that.
Yeah, and the visuals and the drug culture.
Like Electric Forest with like String Cheese Incident.
Right.
And like that kind of is very much an electronic music. I wouldn't say it's like it's like, is that a rave? I don't know. It's owned by Insomniac at this point. It's like,
I would
you know
say
what
that
I mean?
it's not.
Yeah, no. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a point where it becomes corporate.
Yeah, for sure. A rave happens on Saturday and it goes until like 7 a.m., 9 a.m. And it's independent and it's very like potluck. Like who's bringing the sound system? Who's bringing the lights? Who's running the bar? Is there a bar or is there no bar? And the venue changes. It's in nature, like nomadic. Here today, gone tomorrow, very nomadic. And in house music, my perception and what I've seen is that it was happening at a place where you could go, like the warehouse or the music box. And rave culture in Chicago and across the Midwest has that too. There were these like seminal venues that a lot of parties were happening out of, but they don't exist anymore and they're not historical landmarks. They're like a Lexus dealership or like,
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what was kind of like the main intention of these parties? Was it like, just to bring people together on like, like it's all just like plur and that kind of thing? Or is it like, we want to make some money? Is it just because we're so about it and we're just going to do it because this is what we love?
More of the latter too. this is before Plur. Plur came about like late 90s, early 2000s. And like the tribe that I come from is like not Plur.
Gotcha.
We are like, this might be more of a personal experience, an application of my experience, but it's not kumbaya, and it's not like let's build community, we all get along
thing you were talking about.
It's like, fuck you, I want it like this is what I want to hear, and like it or not, it's happening. It's not like I really like you. Maybe, sure, there's like tons of adoration and appreciation, but there's always that like assertion of I have a vision, I want to see it happen no matter what. I want to hear this, and I want to be in this place. And that's kind of the bedrock, at least, you know, the approach of my father, who's very much that personality. But I think that's where you get other crews branching off and forming too, because you'd have like consensus among, you know, I don't know, how many people in a crew? 2 to 6, 2 to 8, 2 to 12. They're like, yeah, I want to hear this. I want to make this kind of music. I'm producing this kind of music. We're hanging out. I'm into hardware. I have a studio. I'm pressing vinyl. And how are we getting it out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Plur is also more inclusive and also been hijacked in the sense that it's like a thing to sell to people. Like, this is the image that our festival is or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting that when I hear and I see your posts and stuff, and you know, it's like, yeah, this was to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Like we wanted to make money doing this. We wanted to push a vision, but we also wanted to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because otherwise, how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like, well, it's just for the people. And like, maybe there were some crews like that too, but yeah,
there's free parties. And I mean, that's not to denounce a lot of the philosophy and ethos, and like, there's very goodwill and humanity behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to have that to propel you through. It's not completely a capitalistic gain, but it's not that, because you need to make money to keep things going, right? You do. You're not going to barter a flight, like a plane ticket, to bring in X, Y, and Z to so-and-so. You need to make money, right? So there's a lot of different things going on, and I don't think it can be classified. I don't think the whole sum and the vision and the purpose of rave culture can be classified into one personality or mindset.
Mm-hmm. But predominantly for people that were like, want to say, I don't know why underprivileged is coming in here, but that's not the correct term. Just people that were like, you know, not in the mainstream norm, you know, maybe there was some kind of outcasty punk, like weird energy, but this was kind of for them. I feel like I wasn't using the right words there, but I think you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, that. I think that's predominant. But you also had a ton of like white suburban kids showing up, denouncing suburbia and being curious about life outside of that, because they knew that wasn't what life was.
I just think it's really interesting tracing back lineage. That's why I'm so interested in the archive. I feel like in some way, I always tell people that like the podcast is like a time capsule, because like we could have you back on in a year and have a completely different conversation. New things have happened. Your mindset is different at that time. Maybe you're going through some specific thing. And in a sense, I feel like what I'm doing in some ways is archiving as well. That's why I was like gassed when Chris is the one who introduced us, and I was like, we could probably talk forever. So, but yeah, there is just something like fascinating about like capturing what is. For a long time as a creator myself, I was like, I want to create new things. But then you start creating stuff and you realize like a lot of stuff has already been made, and that you're actually like standing on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. And that really got me into the idea of like, oh, well, everything in a sense is kind of like archiving. Like you're part of history. I don't know, this is getting out there, but I just think it's really cool. I've grown an appreciation for history and like how things, you know, because what we got is stories. That's what we have as humans, whether it's through music, art, or just like spoken word. So I think it's really important. So that's my diatribe about documenting things.
Yeah, I think that's super significant, and I've been thinking about that recently too. And it came back to that that notion of we always have our stories. We can change places, we can change clothes, people die,
Yeah.
things turn over, but we always have our memories and our stories, and that remains.
Or we don't, and they've been lost to the sands of time, and like we got some rocks from like way long time ago, and that those are like the only things that kind of are around. And it's like I would love to know. Like I've gotten really into like Greek mythology and like different really old like myths and stuff, and I'm like, this might be real. Like I don't know, but
Atlantis.
yeah, like all that stuff. It's just like how much of that stuff is real to an extent or a hyperbole, but we can't really know because we don't have any archive that would be like what you're doing. And I even think like digital stuff, it could go easy, you know, like if all of our electronics were just knocked out, it'd be like, psh, no more podcasts, no more internet archive, no more any of that stuff. So like, I just feel like we could lose history, and that history is more precious than people actually think. It's like, oh yeah, we'll always remember that. But also we have like amnesia about things that happened 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I don't know. There's no point there. It's just like, it is fascinating. And I've become kind of obsessed with like making sure we remember the history.
Yeah, and where are we putting it? Digitally. Like that's, I mean, like, so much of what's happening now is happening on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, and like...
who the fuck owns that?
Yeah, right, exactly.
He does not care about us.
It's also going to get all smorgasborded into like some weird concoction of like, or mosaicing of like everything that is with AI.
Yeah.
And then we might get real lost. We're like, wait, where did this even come from?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it really matters where we put it. For sure. And the digital is not stable. And neither is, you know, our data servers.
What's like most stable? Rocks. I feel like rocks are pretty stable.
I've thought about this too. There's an artist, Jenny Holzer. Do you know who that is? I love her. She's phenomenal. She's been a big inspiration for a long time. And she's got these truisms. It's kind of this ongoing series that she does. And those truisms are replicated and kind of shown in different formats. It can be like a projection on a building. It can be a billboard. It can be on like a condom wrapper. But the one that I really love is the truisms that are etched in marble or concrete or like a bronze plaque, because those are materials that are going to live for a long, long time. They could be resurfaced, but over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And it considers like, what is that medium that's going to outlive natural disaster or man-made personal disaster of like, oh, I spilled something on this.
Yeah, or like even formats, like we got like anything that was on Betamax, it's like, yo, you got to find a Betamax player to play that, like, you know, or like, yeah, what if our files change and then we can't even like, I got a floppy disk, and like, how do we don't even have a floppy disk player or whatever. I mean, we'll probably get real sophisticated in the future and be able to like just get it out somehow, but
I feel like it's becoming like harder to do that though. Like even with CDs now, you know, you need a CD player or like a CD player in your car, like a Walkman or whatever, but like so few people even have those anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I feel like we're getting away from being able to play physical media, which is why physical media is so important to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. CDs are super fragile. Of all the audio formats and visual digital formats, CDs are actually like one of the more fragile components. Magnetic tape, like cassettes and VHS, is fragile because it can become brittle or
magnetized or something like messed up.
Right. But those CDs are so brittle. And, like one little hairline scratch can erase a lot of information.
Dude, that just reminds me. Did you guys, like for Chris, I know you're a gamer. We had this thing back in the day, like you'd have a game that got scratched and you would get this thing that like washed it and like took a layer off of it. So like if the scratch wasn't deep enough, it would still work. Because like some of the outer layers are just for protection. And we would like be pushing it through this machine and be like, please work. We really want to play Crash Bandicoot.
You're a preservationist. You would make your own what?
Like
solution?
Yeah.
Wow.
We just Googled it and it was, solution is like a very nice term for it. It was like toothpaste and like peanut butter.
Yeah, and it would just like take a little bit off.
Yeah, but it worked like more times than you would think. My game was Dead Rising. It never worked for me.
I had one game that I always wanted to play and I was just never worked. Or like you'd blow into the cartridge of the Game Boy and be like, please. And it would work, dude.
I still do that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where we go with this. Let's see. I have a lot of questions. We've honestly gotten through a lot of stuff. I guess something fun to do, which this could be long-winded, but just like maybe we start in the 90s and just like go through the years and like kind of maybe not like super duper in detail, but like what music is happening and where, like through the 90s to the 2000s to like, it's going to branch out to a lot of different genres, but like in raves, like what's getting played, maybe just in the Midwest, actually. I don't know, because that's like such a broad question.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious because we got like jungle and like acid and like, but when is it happening and what comes first?
I think I would have to consult the archives for a more accurate portrayal and timeline and
That's
sound. Fair. I think these sounds were progressing party to party. And you named it. In the beginning, it was exactly that. Rave culture in the UK is the inception of what was replicated here. Like those spiral tribe raves with jungle and acid house and techno was the beginning. And so that's like early, like 90 to 92. And then we get into like some house. Chicago house has kind of evolved from like the disco. We're getting the influx of like hip hop and breakbeat that's coming into, right? Because that's kind of like a synonymous adjacent subculture that turntablism and sample culture is making its way. Like a lot of ravers are listening to that too. DJs also, producers. And then we start to get the advent of technology and that being more accessible to people too. In the Midwest, the 303 that was bought from the pawn shop by the originators of acid house. And then I think we start to like, that becomes like that techno element too of Detroit. A lot of it is like the curation of the promoters of like, what do they want to hear? So I think mid 90s is a really great time for techno and house. I think that really becomes predominant in Chicago because we are a house music city. But that drum and bass and jungle is still present at some parties and it might be in a smaller room and not the main attraction at all the parties, but it still is there. But then And then in 2000, you have the Rave Act after one of the Daly's kids overdosed at a party, and rave culture becomes much more criminalized. And there's a special task force that, you know, finds your party and seizes your equipment and sends you with like a huge fine. So I think we digress from culture and sound progressing when that Rave Act comes about. And a lot of these parties, promoters and DJs and audience gets shuffled into the club or a festival. And at that time, 2000s, I can't say exactly what the sound was, but I can start to, I wonder what that little pocket is in between. I'm thinking like EDM. Beat. Yeah, maybe it's big beat.
Like that, like Fatboy Slim, Moby.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It still breaks, but it's like it's becoming more commercial too.
Right.
In the sense that it's like in the pop realm a little bit.
Mm-hmm. You're getting club, you're getting festival, then you're getting like EDM, dubstep. And
it's in like film, like all those 90 or like, well, I guess now we're going a little bit back, but like 90s, early 2000s, like the film scores were very like break beat, big beat, whatever.
Yeah, I remember watching the Powerpuff Girls, and the intro is drum and bass, and my dad being like, "Oh, word."
Yeah. It's a classic.
It totally is. So yeah, we start to see it come into culture.
I've wanted to play that intro in a show since I first started DJing. Yeah, I think that'd be so fun.
I hope you do.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's such a good intro
for sure.
Yeah,
it's like an intro for a set. For you?
Just in the middle of a set.
Yeah,
but I just want to use that song.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome to see people light up. Yeah. On the floor, like that cultural reference, that childhood reference.
For sure.
If you know, you know. If she doesn't know it, she's too young for you, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we did a good job, even though it was a very broad question. Also wanted to ask you if there was anything we didn't cover that you feel like maybe would be particularly important, or something maybe you've just been thinking about lately by doing the archive.
A lot of the consideration around starting this project and where we are now, and what will always prevail, is the ethics around protecting a misunderstood, misrepresented, stigmatized subculture. And the work of an archive and how it is taught and the legacy of is very staunch institutional. And this is if you look at other subcultures and their archivist efforts, it's this tension and a continuation of community input and involvement around how are we going to be represented and how is our agency and privacy going to be upheld. So that's something that's really top of mind right now, as we haven't put out a call for photos of little film photos and videos too. Like that's something that's really significant, and something that will continue to have community input kind of shape and mold as we move through certain materials and how those are cataloged and shared, and if they are shared or if they're not shared. And I can't not mention the really great team that has started to shape around the project, whether mentors in the community or especially the people who are working to catalog alongside me, like Jamie and Lando and Sean, and they're helping scan and bring in like legitimate methods of museum and archive cataloging and database management. So yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a consideration, the ethics and community input and involvement as it grows. And It's a lot of the consideration before this and some of the stickiness as we move forward in developing. I mean, it's only been 2 months, we should mention, right? Like the archive was announced in July, and work of preservation and cataloging has only been 2 months. So this is very early on. When we talk next year, we're going to be in a different place, and that will be a really cool conversation then.
We'll do the presentation for sure then.
For sure.
Yeah. We need visuals.
Yeah.
I always ask a wrap-up question, which is an homage to the first concert question. What was like the most game-changing show you went to?
I think a couple years ago, seeing Adam X at Hidden Ideas play for like 6 hours was incredible. It was on a Halloween, and the venue is super cool, and Adam X is amazing. And it was this like, whoa, you know, like Adam X has been doing it forever. He's like the beginning, and he's the continuation. And it was just amazing that, you know, Adam X was in this basement, and the set was just, I remember giggling on the dance floor. Like I had like, I'm not a big drinker, and I don't do drugs. And it was Halloween, so I had like a few tequila shots, and this is like 3 hours in to dancing, and I remember like on the dance floor giggling, being like, this is so amazing. Oh my gosh, you know? So that really stands out to me. And then more recent, seeing Crystal Mess at Smart Bar. That was fucking phenomenal. I went with my good friend Megan, who like in her thesis referenced a street interview with Crystal Mess. Crystal Mess is a DJ from Paris. And she was talking about a political movement. And it was just like man on the street. Like this is before she became a DJ. My friend Megan referenced that interview, and Megan's really into Crystal Mess. And whenever Crystal Mess comes into town, we go see her. And I just was dancing my fucking ass off, like hardcore on the left speaker. And last year and this year too, Crystal Mess played Rollin' and Scratching by Daft Punk, which is just like, oh, like
I adore that song.
Adore.
Yeah.
Right? Like every time.
Yeah.
It is just like visceral. Like I'm a feral freak for that song.
That's my One More Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And that was a couple, maybe, I don't know, like a month and a half ago. And I was like rinsed. I just remember like just no one else is on the floor. It's just me and this speaker. And that was a really great moment. And then she brought in like Goldie too, Inner City Life. And that was a really cool moment. And her set was very expansive and of the entirety of this culture, I think. I think her set was archival and touched on the complete scope of the sound that is rave culture.
All right. Well, we also wrap up with shout outs. You shouted out your team.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely have shouted out your parents a bunch. Anyone else that is really pivotal in like the reason that you're here, not just on this podcast, but doing what you're doing and shaping and influencing you?
Yeah, man. I'm going to give it up for Yusra, my boss at Soho House at Cowshed Spa. I think she's amazing. And I wouldn't be here without her hiring me. And I remember when I first got the job and was sort of a little bit in the job too, and just in recognizing how substantial and significant it is to have a position like this was in my life for the resource of financial stability and for the workplace culture,
Right.
and for her trust in me being able to do what I do really well. None of my like mental, emotional, spiritual well-being to do this project would be possible without Yusra.
Word. Yeah, because
I
that's
love her.
something you shout out.
Yeah.
That's something that you have to, the people you surround yourself with on a daily basis, they either like take your energy or they help make sure that you're in the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Big shout out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the part where we tell people where to go.
Mm.
So how do people find you and also the archive? Is it public at this point at all, or is it what's going on?
Yeah, the archive is accessible on internetarchive.com.
Great website. The
Yep.
best.
Oh my God, right? Everything is on there.
The 90s sample CDs was like a hard find when you download. I don't even know. It's like almost like it's a lot of gigs of just like sample CDs. That's actually, I don't know. Maybe there's some specific Midwest sample CDs. There probably are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you start to populate all the tags and metadata from flyers and audio and video that's coming in, Internet Archive is, it's got that little mechanism to bring up similar things so we can start to contribute to what else is already on there, because there's already a lot of work that's being done. Can I give another shout out?
Yeah.
Chris Esparza, who does Golden Years, is seminal in the work of archiving in this space with flyers and otherwise. And that brings up the point of like, there's a lot of work that's been done in small ways. His is a lot of work in a small way. And in a small way, I mean that it's not supported or as ubiquitous as an Internet Archive approach or that of a museum. So check out Internet Archive and what we've got there. We also have just a really simple Squarespace website. It's not integrated like another archive website might be. That takes a lot of finances to produce.
Sure.
A lot of design and curation around that. But we've got a really great website so far. It's just MWRCA.org. I recognize that Midwest is one word, but MRCA is like a union and like a nature preserve, and it's like a significant acronym.
I think that works though. The MW, it's like, yeah, okay, Midwest. Like I want to put the W in there.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I think so too. So we're there. We're also on Instagram. I have a personal Facebook page. It's just Midwest Rave Culture Archive on Instagram. Aria Pedraza on Facebook, and my own personal Instagram page.
What do people search on the Internet Archive to find your collection?
Midwest Rave Culture.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm really not interested in Instagram and Facebook and Meta. I'm thinking about other ways to...
Patreon.
Yeah.
Or maybe not Patreon, but maybe like... Yeah, just having a website. Or
something social, like we were talking about in the beginning too. Maybe like a Discord.
Discord would be
Discord
good.
would be great.
Yeah.
Patreon you could do in some capacity. I don't know if you want people to be like paying for it necessarily, but I mean, there's gotta be some other stuff.
Like Blue Sky.
Yeah, I thought about Blue Sky too.
Yeah.
I don't want to experience this culture and then scroll and see like the worst of humanity.
Yeah.
Like it's just so awful and misplaced and weird to absorb and experience a cultural institution in an archive next to the worst shit you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. For TikTok and Instagram, I just post and I don't scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I think that'd be a nice reprieve from everything, if I was on like those apps scrolling.
Sorry.
No, just like once every 3 days be like random poster and then just have the date. Like that'd be a super cool account to follow.
Mm-hmm.
I just think part of my problem is like I do communicate with people on Instagram. Sometimes that's like the first place that I am able to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I also hate to feel like I'm posting on something and then also just turning away from it completely. Like at that point, it's like, why am I even a part of this at all?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like conflicting. Like I feel like all of us who are like content creators, like want our stuff to be recognized and seen, but we don't want to be on the app. And I think that that's a big existential problem for social media.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a trap. It's an attention trap too. So I think it's complicated. It's hard to like be off of it, but then be on it. So I have been enjoying our Discord because it's just like us.
Yeah.
And we're just talking and you're not getting sucked into everything else.
Just pure community.
Yeah. It's great. Definitely go check out the Discord. I heard that you also have a Discord. Pop in.
Well, it's internal right now.
Okay, it's
for
internal.
the team.
Yeah.
But in the past couple of days, I'm like, dude, this should be like, we should like have
We'll
a fucking
join.
Discord. Great.
We'll put a message in our Discord. It's a meager following at this point, but like we're going to be pushing that more.
For sure. I love that.
Because I'd love to just get everyone off of Instagram and like be like, yo, come chill in here where we can talk.
Exactly. Or just like also, I love Instagram too because we can connect with a lot of great people.
Yeah.
I love that. You have like someone's direct line if they're checking their messages, if they want to. It doesn't imply access. It shouldn't, at least, that you can just reach out to anyone and get a response. But it makes it easier. It's just like, can we diversify and kind of spend some more time other places? Does it have to be just Instagram? Instagram owns that relationship and that content. And I'm not into Meta. I don't fuck with that guy.
That's yeah, I get it. Part of the other trouble is like I'll put something out there and then someone big or whoever, someone I respect will like it and follow my page, and then I'm like, now I can communicate. So it has a special thing to it, but it's just there's a lot of other problems. So I think everyone's feeling that.
Yeah.
I think like the craziest thing for me is like crazy shit happens in the world and I need to take a break from social media, and I think most people should. But then it's like, wait, but I need to be on social media to run the podcast. It's a tricky balance.
It is. It'll be interesting to see, we'll talk again in 20 years and we'll reflect on this time in our lives and how we made things for people and connected with people and what this little Instagram phase meant to us. Like MySpace, right? We were talking about MySpace before.
Yeah.
But that was so much more enriching. MySpace was
rocked.
different. It did.
Yeah.
You're going to have like perfect skin still. I'm going to be like wrinkly.
I am using this like human growth factor serum recently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that off pod. That's a Patreon exclusive. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have a Patreon. Not yet. But I just want to say, Aria, thank you so much for coming through, giving us a lay of the land. Definitely go check out the archive. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah, that was really fun. If you guys made it this far, we appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Yo, what's up, guys? This is your host, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's someone you'd like to see on the show, leave a comment below. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, we'd appreciate it if you leave a review and hit that 5-star rating. Thank you for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.